The sun had barely risen over the sprawling city of Medellín when the first whispers of violence began to stir. In a world cloaked in shadows, where power was measured in kilos of cocaine and territory was claimed with blood rather than law, the international drug cartel reigned supreme. From the bustling streets lined with colorful houses to the remote, hidden airstrips carved into the mountains, the network operated with an eerie precision that blurred the line between business and brutality. This was a world few dared to enter, and fewer still survived. The story that unfolds is not just about drugs or money. It is about fear, control, and the unrelenting pursuit of dominance that shaped the lives of those entangled in it. Our story begins with a man whose name would become synonymous with both terror and legend. Alejandro Salazar, a mid-level operative with a gift for logistics and a reputation for ruthlessness, had worked his way up through the cartel's labyrinthine hierarchy. To outsiders, he was a shadow, a ghost moving between safe houses and clandestine meeting points. To those within the organization, he was a problem solver, someone who could make complex operations seem effortless while leaving a trail of whispered threats in his wake. But beneath the calm precision lay a world of constant danger, paranoia, and the ever-present threat of betrayal. Every shipment of narcotics, every coded message, carried the weight of life and death. Late one humid night, Salazar received a tip that rival factions were planning a strike against the cartel's main distribution hub. The city itself seemed to hold its breath as he navigated the labyrinth of narrow alleyways, his silhouette flickering under the dim light of street lamps. Inside the warehouse, the air was thick with anticipation and fear. Workers whispered anxiously about recent disappearances, the clatter of metal crates punctuating their murmurs. The tension was palpable, each man aware that one wrong move could trigger a cascade of violence. Outside, motorcycles roared in the distance, an ominous prelude to the chaos that would erupt. Suddenly, the calm shattered. Gunshots pierced the night, echoing against the concrete walls like the drumbeats of impending doom. Workers dove for cover, crates toppled, and the air filled with the acrid scent of gunpowder. Salazar moved with the precision of a predator, orchestrating a defense that was part strategy, part sheer instinct. The violence was sudden but measured. It was the kind of conflict that left permanent scars on those who survived. For hours, the night was a blur of shadows, shouts, and the relentless staccato of automatic fire. Yet even as the immediate threat was neutralized, the deeper currents of danger ran unceasingly. Alliances shifted in whispers, loyalty was a fragile commodity, and the cartel's empire teetered on a knife's edge. As the sun began to pierce the horizon, painting the city in shades of orange and crimson, a new development sent shockwaves through the organization. A trusted lieutenant had betrayed Salazar, leaking critical intelligence to rival factions. The revelation sparked a chain reaction of suspicion and panic, transforming the already tense environment into a theater of paranoia. No one was safe. The very air seemed to carry the weight of imminent retribution. Salazar knew that a single misstep could cost him his life, yet retreat was not an option. The next move had to be decisive, daring, and calculated with the precision of a chess grandmaster playing for survival. The investigation that followed unveiled the sprawling reach of the cartel's operations, stretching far beyond the mountains of Colombia to ports, airports, and highways across continents. Authorities pieced together the network through intercepted communications, clandestine surveillance, and the courageous testimony of insiders who had managed to escape the web of intimidation. each discovery revealed a world more intricate and terrifying than the last, a system that thrived on secrecy, manipulation, and the quiet terror imposed on entire communities. The stories of those caught in the crossfire were harrowing. Families uprooted, neighborhoods terrorized, and lives shattered by a conflict whose rules were written in whispers and bullets rather than statutes and courts. In the midst of this unfolding chaos, Salazar made a choice that would define his fate. A meeting with a high-ranking associate in a remote mountain villa became the stage for a dramatic twist. As he entered the dimly lit room, he sensed the undercurrent of betrayal, the subtle shift in body language that spoke louder than words. A confrontation erupted, not of words, but of calculated maneuvers and barely restrained violence. The drama reached its peak as secrets long buried surfaced in a flurry of accusations, and the lines between friend and foe blurred irreparably. For those observing from the shadows, the spectacle was both terrifying and mesmerizing, a cinematic display of the stakes inherent in the world of organized crime. The climax of Salazar's story came not with a dramatic shootout or a spectacular escape, but with the quiet inevitability of justice catching up to the meticulously hidden deeds of a man who had danced on the edge of death for years. Authorities, armed with months of painstaking investigation, executed a coordinated operation that brought the cartel's inner workings into the light. Salazar was apprehended not in a blaze of glory, but in the quiet surrender that followed relentless pursuit. A moment that epitomized the thin line between power and vulnerability in the criminal underworld. Yet, even as he was led away, the shadows he had navigated so expertly remained, a haunting reminder that the empire he served would continue, reshaped but unbroken by those who survived and adapted. The aftermath painted a picture as stark as it was haunting. Communities breathed a cautious sigh of relief, yet the scars left behind were enduring. Families struggled to rebuild, wary of the invisible threads that still connected local violence to distant decisions made in smoke-filled rooms and fortified villas. Law enforcement agencies gained critical insight into the mechanics of international trafficking, their victories tempered by the knowledge that the cycle of power, greed, and retribution was far from over. The story of Alejandro Salazar became a cautionary tale, a lens through which the world could glimpse the human cost of a shadow economy that respected no borders, spared no conscience, and exacted its toll in fear and suffering. As night descends once more on Medellín, the streets return to a deceptive calm. The echoes of the previous night's chaos linger like a ghost, a reminder that the underworld never truly sleeps. The camera of our imagination sweeps over the rooftops, down into alleyways, and along the rivers where cargo once moved under the watchful eyes of unseen sentinels. In this world of relentless tension, every story is a window into the broader reality of organized crime. A realm where survival demands vigilance, where loyalty is fleeting, and where the smallest decision can set off a chain of events that reverberates across continents. The tale ends not with triumph or resolution, but with the lingering tension of a world still teetering on the edge, compelling us to look closer, question deeper, and acknowledge the human cost behind the headlines.